From homelessness to a special invitation to our nation's capital.
WDRB's Stefan Johnson tells us why Washington lawmakers are waiting to hear from a convicted felon and former drug addict. Stefan?
Well, after time on the streets and alleyways like this, going to prison, and even a tragic loss, the man you're about to meet turned his life around, and now he's going to the nation's capital to share with lawmakers how he did it.
I'm a person that is in remission from opioid use disorder for 10 years now.
Jeremy Bird is a classic example of someone who doesn't look like what they've been through.
I can pass, so to speak, as someone who might not have struggled in those ways, but I've struggled with mental illness, with anxiety and depression.
Over the years, that struggle has led to substance abuse, homelessness, and prison.
For drug charges, yeah, cultivation of marijuana.
But several years ago, Jeremy got clean and even met the love of his life.
Me and my wife met in recovery.
Like Jeremy, she was a person in recovery, but also college educated.
We became a couple, and she finished her PhD. She was a researcher. We made a really picture-perfect couple.
But in June of 2022, some of the imperfections resurfaced.
Toward the end of COVID, her mental health was taking a turn, and my mental health was taking a turn, and returns to use happened.
While traveling for business, Jeremy received tragic news.
And she ended up using a substance to kind of relieve some of her pain, and didn't know that there was fentanyl in it. And the fentanyl is what ultimately took her to her death. And
since then, he has dedicated his life to helping others in recovery and suffering from homelessness.
The director of harm reduction services here at the Arthur Street Hotel is...
Next week, Jeremy will head to the nation's capital for the annual NIDA conference and to share his story in front of Congress and the White House.
NIDA, NIDA is NIDA, which is the National Institute on Drug Abuse.
Jeremy is one of 4 invited guests.
So there's a researcher from Harvard, Yale, and Columbia, and then me.
He may not have an Ivy League background, but Jeremy has learned a thing or two from the School of Hard Knocks.
That's part of what I'm going to talk about when I go to D.C. is what happens when someone's a leader in the recovery space and they have a return to use or they have a struggle.
Jeremy leaves for D.C. on Monday and hopes his time there will help change laws and save lives.
Folks like him can make a big difference and get somebody's ear as well. We hope it happens. Thanks, Stefan.